The right man will enhance your softness. The wrong man is going to dismantle it. Hey, it's your girl Nay. Hold on, let me fix my Lloydin. Sometimes I wonder what I did to deserve you. Girl, I just wanna love you. Hey, it's your girl Nay. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, welcome. If you are true here, welcome back. Grab a snack, have a seat. We got some things to talk about. So today we are going to talk about soft life and what that means. Because social media has been lying to you. Social media has been making you think that in order to be soft, you need a man to be present. And that is not true. I understand the soft life aesthetic. Usually these girls are married, they have a man, it's a rich man, and he affords her the life where she can just have leisure, fun, and pretty much whatever she wants, whenever she wants. And for majority of people, even those girls who put that aesthetic online, it's not their reality. And that's not to say that no one lives that lifestyle. I'm sure that there are people who live according to their own rules and they can wake up and do whatever they want whenever they want. That does not mean that they're not lonely at night when their husband is away on long business trips. Doesn't mean that they don't desire anything. And that is not to ish on anybody who lives a soft life. However, what I really want to drill home, especially on our level up journey and becoming a feminine powerhouse within your own right, is that you do not need a man in order to be soft. That's it. How do I know that a man is not necessary in order to live or be soft girl? Because in the time in my life where I probably could have and maybe even should have become the most masculine is when I actually became the softest. And it was by choice. I decided that I did not want the journey of being a divorced mother of two, which literally could have made me way more masculine because now you are in a single income household. Your kids rely on you mainly. Um, all of the bills that need to be paid in the house have not gone down. In fact, rent goes up every year. And now you're not splitting it with anybody. You're not paying a portion of it anymore. You now have to pay the whole thing by yourself, plus your own bills, plus groceries by yourself, and whatever else now. And instead of allowing that to harden me, I decided it was not going to. At the time, while I was going through divorce, I was also going to school doing my prerequisites for nursing. I didn't want to go into the healthcare field, but I am a licensed esthetician and I wanted to own a med spa. And I also wanted to be able to practice in that med spa because I didn't want to have to rely on an external nurse or anyone else to administer what I could. So even if I hired other nurses, I wanted to know that I could do it myself. So I'm in school, I'm doing the prerequisites, and our divorce becomes finalized and he moves out uh like about 5 to 6 months later. I finish all of my prerequisites and now it's time for me to apply to school. I was talking to one of the administrators within the nursing program at William Patterson, and she advised me, she said, I always advise the students to not work. And I said, well, I'm a mom of two. And this actually happened while I was on the phone with one of the administrators at the community college that I was going to, which was Bergen Community. And they both had the same response, which kind of like was a delayed, like, oh, well, I mean, I still suggest it. I still suggest you don't work. It's a rigorous program. So, in knowing that that was the advice and knowing how I am when it comes to hustle and bustle and the stress, this started to not feel internally like the route I should be going. I really started to ask myself, is the end goal worth the journey? I am a true Capricorn. I need to have, at the very least, I'll prefer for the entire plan to be laid out, the whole blueprint, but at the very least, I need a step or two. It needs to make sense, right? And knowing myself and knowing how I can be in my hustle and bustle, how focused I can be, I couldn't do that. I didn't have the luxury of doing that with two children who are relying on me, you know? And what does that mean if the nursing curriculum overrides my need to work and my need to make income? how can I do both? Also, what does that mean for myself? Am I still going to be me? Am I going to be present for my kids? And in that, I decided it wasn't worth it because the softness that I would need to be a mother and a nurturer, not just to my kids, but again to myself, I would have to sacrifice that. And realistically, which is a different video, but I've already learned to not sacrifice myself, and that's why I ended up getting divorced. The relevance of my nursing story is how and when I realized that I was choosing softness over masculinity, the hustle and bustle. The masculinity, the masculine side of you, which you do need for your feminine power, is what is going to push you to achieve the goals, right? However, I wasn't willing to sacrifice my femininity, my nurturing side, and I didn't feel that I had the luxury to temporarily put that version of me to the side because my kids were reliant on me and I was reliant on me. I, in a way, was reverted back to the child version of me. So there was realistically 3 kids that needed nurturing because I, not to get too poetic or too deep in at least this video, I chose my inner child over my marriage. My schedule now allows me to film my content and to make enough money to pay my bills, enough money to save, and enough money to have money in my pocket. So it worked out. You do not need a man to practice softness with yourself, but the right man is going to help you further curate, if anything, probably cement you in your softness. You cannot and you should not wait for a man to come in to say, let me learn how to be soft now. You can't say, oh, I'm gonna be, this masculina, and then turn around and wait for the man, because then that's a fight for him. And some men will be willing to take on that fight. I'm not going to say that no man will be. So here are some things that I would suggest to you. Start being soft with yourself from now. Learn to differentiate, sorry. Learn the difference between the things that are needed versus the things that are wanted or would be nice. Learn to put things that are heavy down, literally and figuratively, meaning what can I get done today and what can be put off for tomorrow. And I know the saying is, why put off for tomorrow what could be done today? But when you are choosing to be soft, you are choosing to be softer with yourself. You are choosing to exercise patience with yourself in all ways. You begin to prioritize what you need, what Nay needs. What do I need? I remember I was talking to a friend and she was like, there's something very different about you. What are you doing? And I said, I've learned to say no. Even to my kids when it's necessary. No. My daughter's 11, my son is 4. Don't be banging on my room door when it's a rest day for all of us. You are 11. If he needs a bowl of cereal, go make the bowl of cereal for your little brother. If someone asks for something from me and I can't do it, I'm not going to guilt myself into doing that anymore. I can't. If I like something, if I want something, if I can't have it now, because discipline is necessary, but if I can't have it now, I'm going to figure out a way to put it in there, because we cannot sit here and say, well, a man's going to come in my life and he's going to spoil me. He's going to give me all these material things and he's going to give me all these trips and experiences. And while that does happen, there still needs to be a level of softness. There needs to be a level of realistically non-reliance. I think the more that you are self-serving, and I don't mean in an overly selfish way, because I think selfish gets a derogatory connotation to it. Putting yourself first is absolutely mandatory. When you can do for yourself is when you kind of open the flow way of, like, you open the streams of people being able and wanting to do for you. When I first started dating, it was still city girls were up. Okay. It was still very much women online saying, if he's not doing this, if he's not doing this financially for you, then cut it out. Right. And while I don't fully disagree with it, I do think that there was almost a rush, right? You expected to see it super soon. And as I became more integrated and more stable, I realized that I'm not actually that hungry. And what does that mean? That means that I wasn't rushing to go to dinner. I wasn't rushing, and it was never about like, oh, I'm starving. Like literally, I have no food at my house. Please take me out. It was in the beginning, like I need to see what you're willing to do, and I need you to do it now. And as I kept dating, I dated casually for about 2 years because the 2 years are still going on. I'm still casually dating, but not really because I. So, anyways, expecting to see something really soon. And yes, I had experiences where literally the day after the first date, the man asked me what I was doing. I said I was looking about an appointment for my nails. He asked me how much are my nails. I said on average they could be up to 200. He sent me the 200 right then and there. That was after the first date. He took me shopping on the second date. There's been men who've paid for my Ubers multiple times to go from New Jersey to New York and back home. That's $150 just in an Uber. So there are men who will do it and do it up front. But then there's also men who delay a little bit, but they're still coming. And then there's also the ones that you can see ain't about nothing, right? But if you are not in a soft place, if you're in your masculine, you are actually going to want to see that faster. You're like this. You're still hustling. It's just different. Have your own, in short, right? Have a plan, but also have faith because that's something that my journey has taught me. There has been nothing that has happened that did not work itself out. And I'm going to say it out loud. I'm going to say it for the masses to hear. Thank you, God. I highly suggest that you find a faith or a belief system and you begin to exercise faith and you begin to pray. And that is softness as well because there's submission that is necessary in having a belief system. There's submission that is necessary that you have to submit to God when you don't understand what's happening. If you believe in God, if you believe in Buddha, or you believe in a higher being, there are many times where you don't know what this is, why it is. Every time I push back, it's pushing me back a little harder. Every time I nudge, it's like slapping me backwards. And I'm like, okay, all right, okay. And that's submission. I trust you. Whatever it is, I trust you. Because think about the amount of things that has happened. And you thought in that moment you wouldn't get through it. You didn't know. And you were waking up and you weren't eating because you didn't know and you couldn't figure it out. And there are things that you don't even remember that you experienced like that. You don't even remember that you experienced it like that. Those are the moments that made me softer. And when you are in the thick of it, into the thick of it doesn't feel like that. There's been times where I was upset and I was feeling something and I was stressed about money or I was stressed about a person or I was stressed about whatever. And I would scroll and I'm looking on YouTube and I'm seeing a sermon and it would say God is coming or something like that and I would be like whatever. Whatever and I'll scroll past it. So for those of you who feel that right now, that resentment or that you feel tension in this part of the video, I fully understand. But what I will say is just try. Just give a little prayer. Talk to whatever higher power you believe in, even if it's your ancestors, and submit. Learn how to submit that way. I think at the very least, learn to submit to God. Learn to submit to your ancestors who love you and are guiding you. And when I say that, I don't mean idolize them for those who, are more aligned with Christian or Catholic faith and say that's not of God. Your ancestors exist. When you go to your mother's grave or your grandmother's grave, grandfather, whoever, and you talk to them, you're talking to your ancestors. They existed before you and they're now gone. And if you can believe that they're in heaven, why would you not believe that they're assisting you? And why would you not believe that they're a conduit that God is working through? If you believe in the universe does not replace God. Again, a conduit. But these are my beliefs. I'm not here to tell you what to believe and what not to believe. But the point is to learn to submit, learn to release. That is faith. Submission does not mean relinquish your power or your ability. It means I'm just going to allow. I'm going to let it flow, the path of least resistance. And dating, honestly, led me to be softer. I learned how to be in the presence of a man and allow that man to be and allow him to show me exactly who he was. I allowed things to be what they were, right? Without feeling the need to fix anybody. And I mean, in the beginning, it wasn't like that, right? In the beginning, it was more masculine in the sense of like kind of like waiting and being a little pushy and being like, well, I'm not seeing this from you. You say that you're interested in me, but I don't see it. I was still, it took a bit. It took a bit for me to learn and unlearn. Okay. But even in those passings of the masculine, right? Even in the brushing of the shoulders, we only sat down for one dinner and we never spoke again. Or we spoke or we never dated again or whatever. I still learned a lot. I still learned how to be present, how to pour into myself, how to let a man show up and show me who he is and not be performative. And those men didn't become my man. Another part of being feminine and or being softer was learning to not perform. Allowing people to be exactly who they are. And this does not have to apply to dating only. This can apply to the workplace. This can apply to your friendships. Allow people to present who they are and not chase it. And do not get me wrong, I am still practicing these things. I'll be lying to you to say that I always take my own advice. It's not true. I don't always take my own advice because sometimes the pursuits, the idea of things becomes so intoxicating that you're like, no. I've learned that someone not being who I felt they could be does not mean that I should try and ignite that in them. And I used to think that. I used to think, well, maybe if I show them who I really am or tell them how I would have acted in this moment, that will ignite. And yeah, I mean, it caused or created maybe a little bit of reflection for them. Sometimes I would get a, okay, I'm sorry. But looking back at it, I don't know if they said that just because, I was being, when I say aggressive, I don't mean like raw. I mean like aggressive as maybe even regressive, but aggressive as in like insistent, you know? Allow people to exist. That is probably the one of the easiest parts of being softer is allowing people to show you what it is and then you make a decision and you can bow out gracefully. You don't have to yell, you don't have to scream, you don't have to, okay, okay, and know that it works out because it always works out. So those are my intro levels to becoming a softer version of you. Submit to a higher power, prioritize yourself, and learn what to put down, learn to rest. Absolutely learn how to rest. Learn to move slower. Learn to pour into yourself and learn to submit. Allow people to be who they are and then you make your decision based on that. Listen more than you talk. These are habits of a softer person. I almost forgot one, which I think goes hand in hand with faith, but and this actually was probably the first one I did, listening to my intuition more. If something says this is not what you think it is, then listen to that. And that could be in anything. I started to dream a lot more. I started to sit in silence a lot more. I started to feel, right? I'm empathic and I could feel something. I could feel when someone's saying something, but it's not aligning with what they actually feel internally. Whether that was they're saying something nice to me, but there's a feeling of that's not actually what you mean by that, or whether they were trying to come across as more rigorous and shut off, but internally there was more going on, you know? Whatever it was, I listened to that. And then going back to the faith part, ask God to reveal that to me. I wasn't always really good at that. I actually would become so convicted with what I believe was true that I didn't ask God to reveal whether or not that was true. Sometimes I did. A lot of times when it came to dating, I would say, if this person doesn't mean me any well, remove them. And like a Rico swipe, they were gone. They were gone very soon. Like I would say like a day or two, they would be gone. So yeah, but that is it for this video. If you enjoyed watching this, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Please comment your favorite part below or what else you would like for me to talk about. Anything like a subtopic out of this video, something else like you heard me saying and you're like, I would actually like for her to talk about that more or talk about this that, jotted a thought but wasn't exactly mentioned in the video. Um, Feel free to put that down below and I am happy to consider everything that you are saying. I am super thankful for you being here. I know some days I'm a little bit more lively, but today felt like a more calm approach to things. So that's what I went with. Anyways, I love you for watching and I will see you in the next video.